fellow Kenyans, let's take our education very seriously. There's a debate that is going on that is actually confusing me, because actually it is going against the knowledge that I've acquired, that government has spent a lot of money educating us about. Let me narrow into that particular subject. There is this debate that is going on about SGR and its consequences of port services. Yeah, of course. Ever since SGR was constructed and began its service, it has got a significant consequences towards our economic activity of Mombasa. More so, of course, general and large. But there's something that I need to be highlighted. First of all, why are they talking about it now? I mean, not exactly now, but why are they started talking about it after the completion of the project? Didn't they know that the consequences accompanied its existence will be there? I think in any mega project, there will always a study going on and is highlighting the advantage or disadvantage of that particular project. You normally call it externalities. And there are always positive externality and the negative externality. But I'd like to touch on the negative externality. That is, SGR has actually reduced the economic activity of Mombasa, which is the backbone of Mombasa economic, and it is something that everyone should be concerned about. But if we look at it that way, then we are talking as if Mombasa is basically an autonomous part of this country. We should be sensitive about that. Why I'm saying that is because of the education that I have been taken through by this same country. Back in the days when I was in school, there was a subject called GHC, the Geography, History and Civic. Geography is basically talking about the demarcations of our land, which is actually divided into province. The Coast Province, the Central Province, the Nairobi Province, the Rift Valley Province, you name it. Those provinces were basically demarcated for administrative purposes, because each and every of those block provinces have got some kind of administrative head. It was a provincial administration that was the PC by then. The tricky part about it is this country is also comprises of a population that is constituted of various tribes. But then it was a 42 tribes. But currently I understand the number of tribes has pushed up to almost 47. I'm not very sure about it. But let us put it this way. GHC taught us there is a country called Kenya, which is located somewhere in East Africa. And that country is divided into provinces. And the people of that particular country are divided into 3. And that 3, that is the Nilotes, the Bantu, and the Kushites. And among us, the Nilotes and the Bantus and the Kushites are divided into what we call tribes. So, this is a country that has got a dynamics of human cultural value. We got it right when we demarcate this country into the provincial administration. Basically, I think, in my view, it was because of a colonial purposes. Because if you look keenly into this province, all those provinces actually target of a particular people who speak the same language. For example, the central Kenya is mostly populated with the Kikuyus. The western Kenya is mostly populated with the Luyas. The Coast province is mostly the Mijikendas, and name it. So, whether the aim was to consolidate the tribe of administrative purposes, the result will show us. Then, we need to be very careful in diagnosing that. So, because the point of going that broader is to, when we are saying that the port service has been moved into hinterland, in my view, is like we're saying that the people of Mombasa cannot go to work in Naivasha. They cannot go to work in Nairobi. That's where the misnomer is. When this project started, University of Nairobi put up a report highlighting the consequences of this particular project. What possibly it's failed to put across is that what is the mitigation onto this issue. I personally made an attempt to go to my member of parliament, at least to collect data for those people who will be directly affected by this project, so that where there is a growth, because there was a death in port service in Mombasa, but at the same time there was a growth in cargo handling service in both Naivasha and Nairobi. So why don't we then transfer our people who have been displaced by this mega project to those areas? Because I believe we are all Kenyans. I'd like to pick it from there in the next video. God bless you. I sincerely believe that we are all Kenyans. No doubt about it. But what I can't figure out is, this country is not large enough. Currently, I understand it has a population of about 50 million people, with a total budget of at least an estimate of about 3.3 trillion Kenyan shilling, aimed toward providing services to the mentioned 50 million population. Meaning that it doesn't matter whether you are in Mombasa, whether you are in Kisumu, whether you are in Nyeri, whether you are in Moyale, the economic activity must have somehow, one way or another, touched you. Ordinarily, SGR aim was to increase the GDP of our country by speed up business activity, hence boost production and lower production cost. That's the essence. So in the process of doing so, there is a lot of mechanics that will go on in our country, such as the displacement of centers of economic activity. But what is the purpose of a country? A country is demarcated so that if there is a growth or downfall in particular area, the population will equally be moved or shriveled in those particular centers that our economic activity have boosted. And in our constitution, we have an equalization fund. Those areas that have got lesser economic activity, a deliberate funds should be channeled to boost economic activities in those areas, backed by the growth of economic activity in some specific area. That, like in our case now, yes, it is true, Mombasa economic activity has declined, in fact in significant percentage. But at the same time, if you go to Nairobi, Mombasa Road, the economic activity has actually increased in significant percentage. If you go to Naivasha, economic activity has actually followed the same trend of Nairobi.